Hi guys, Fernandes Limbo on the grid. John, before we get to maybe last week's tournaments, let's give fans a little update on what happened last night. We didn't unfortunately have it in the paper, but Riverview, the #1 team in Class A and probably the class of the area, improved to 16-1 on the season, but BJ Ivey's team had their toughest test in a win, beating Newsom 46-44. You know, this is a team that averaged 70 points a game, shoots 50% from the field. Without seeing the box score, I would think a lot of the guys maybe had off nights shooting the ball. But Breon Whitley, the transfer, had 26 points, 23 in the second half, and 10 rebounds. I don't know if you had a chance to watch these guys. I saw them in the championship game of the holiday tournament last week. Clearly the best team in the area, though, I would think.
Yeah, I haven't seen them myself. But yeah, I mean, the record speaks for itself. You know, 16-1, and maybe it's a good thing that they didn't score 60, 70 points and win, that they were held into 50 and still won the game. So that could bode well sometimes. Sometimes these close games where you don't play your best but still win, those mean something too. So, you know, I mean, if this team wants to go really deep in the 8A playoffs, you're going to see some teams that play some good defense, or they're going to take you out of your game a little bit. The best teams are the ones who can rise above that and win.
You know, A.J. Caldwell is sort of the go-to guy on that team, has been for a couple of years, but Breon Whitley comes along, is able to work inside and outside, and B.J. Ivey's had great teams before, but they've sort of stopped at a certain point in the postseason. Looks like this team, everybody, A.J. Caldwell and down, thinks they may go deep into the postseason this year.
Yeah, you got, like I said, you got to have that confidence, you got to believe it, but you got to make it happen too. So, you know, obviously we're still a little bit of ways from that, a few weeks away from the playoffs, and the key is now to just keep the momentum going, keep playing well, and it's a cliche, but it's true. The team that wins, the team that's playing its best when the tournament starts. So.
And they won the tournament last week, beating Covington out of Kentucky.
25 points, right?
25 points. The tournament you were at, sort of looking back, wrap up that one as you saw it.
I was at the Clemens Classic at Southeast, and a terrific final. Palmetto losing by a point to Southeast, 48-47. You know, Southeast up by 11 in the third quarter. They think it's going to be over, but Palmetto fought back. Palmetto's a good basketball team. They really are. They got to calm down at certain points of the game. They're a little frenetic sometimes, but they're in that district with Lakewood Ranch and Sarasota, kind of the football district, where it was Braden River, Palmetto, and Venice for 2 spots. That's kind of how it is now, and I think if Palmetto plays up to its capability and gets a little better and gets a little more, you know, cohesive, they have a chance to make some noise in that 7A11 tournament. You know, I think Ranch and Sarasota right now are the 2 top teams in that, but Palmetto could get in there and surprise them. The Rozier twins are really good. Tina Stevens is really good. They got some size. They gave Southeast some fits on the inside. Southeast won that game because the second quarter they had 4 3-pointers in a row. That's kind of how they pulled away and won that game. And that's not really their game, Southeast. But they were able to do that. But, yeah, I like Palmetto. They're a pretty good team. They're going to be a fun team to watch as the playoffs come around in a couple of weeks. You
were at Sarasota Lakewood Ranch last night. But before we go to that, let's touch on what happened several days ago in football. Anytime we can bring up football in the wintertime, it's welcome.
Yeah.
Braden Christian, Out-of-Door Academy, switching into the same Sunshine State Athletic Conference that St. Stephen's has been in for several years. You know, both were 3-7 last year. If you look at the records of, especially out of door, the last 3 years, 2-8, 1-9, and 4-5. Is it just a question of they get tired of losing and they want to get on a better footing competition-wise, you think?
Well, that and look what St. Stephen's has done in that conference. You know, a few years ago, if I had to pick one of those 3 teams that would have gone away, it would have been St. Stephen's. They didn't have any numbers. They were losing really bad on the field each week. And yet they've able to you know, reach the championship game with this conference. And the good thing about this too is all 3 of those teams are in the same division. So it's going to be St. Stephen's, ODA, and Braden and Christian playing each other and playing meaningful games. The top 2 teams go to the playoffs. So I think if I'm BCS and ODA, I see St. Stephen's. I've seen the excitement that's at that school now with football, the numbers they have. You know, give it a shot. And if it works out well and you want to go back to the FHSA, you always could.
Alan Gerber, who's been at Braden Christian quite a few years, not horrible seasons, 5-5, 5-5, 4-6, 3-7. But Ken Summers in his first year, 3-7. I wonder how that works. Do you think the coach just goes to administration and says, you know, we think maybe we should switch, or does the administration make that call? I mean, how do you think it works?
I'm sure it's a group effort. I'm sure it's the coach going to the administrators. I mean, Alan Gerber is also Braden Christian's athletic director, but I'm sure it wasn't just his decision. It was the decision of also the head of school and other people. And I think maybe you take a temperature of your football program, of your parents, of the kids, and see what they want to do. And again, I think if you're Braden Krish and ODA, hey, look at St. Stephen's. Look at how good their program is because they made this switch. And like I said, they can always switch back. You know, if you want to go back to the FHSAA and play for a district or state championship, you can. So to me, it's a no-loss situation making a move like this.
And maybe we should make it clear that in other sports, they're still in the FHSAA.
They're still member schools. They still have to follow the bylaws. But for football, they play in this independent conference.
Right. So,
IMG's not in the conference, but they're independent. But they're also in the FHSAA. They're just not in districts.
And as you know, winning leads to a lot of things. And even though the competition may be a step down, if they can get a winning program at those two schools, great for them.
Get numbers. That's the key. Get numbers. Get people excited about football. At St. Stephen's last fall, people were excited about football.
They were.
And that's what you need, excitement and then numbers. Before you know it, you have a competitive program.
Okay, we're just touching on football. But back on basketball, you were at Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota. Lakewood Ranch beating Sarasota, the girls' game last night. You know, Sarasota won 3 times last year. Lakewood Ranch has sort of swept the 2 games this year. They're on the cusp of clinching top seed in 7A11. What do you see? Just 2 programs different this year than they were last year?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sarasota lost a couple of key players, including Camille Giardino, our player of the year last year. So, you know, they got some young players out there. They lost Jada Bennett. Jada Bennett, she was hurt in the previous Lakewood Ranch game. She's out for the year, so that's a key loss. And Lakewood Ranch right now, they're a lot of, you know, they're experienced. They got LaDeja Williams, one of the best players in the country. You know, all those schools want her. Gina Oriem has been to see her play and been to her house. So, you know, right now, Lakewood Ranch is the better, more experienced team. But, you know, Sarasota coach Rob Jutras, as I mentioned in my story, he saw some progress last night from where they were a month ago. So, you know, hopefully, you know, he wants to see more progress next month. Next time, and maybe they'll play again in the district final, or maybe we'll see somewhere else in the tournament. But yeah, right now Lakewood Ranch is the better team, and that's how it goes in high school. I mean, that's the fun part. It's the cycles and all that stuff. So
well, it's better strictly from a numbers. They lose 54-31, but I guess the last meeting they lost by 37 points.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at strictly on the scoreboard, Rob Jutras, and he knows how to get his team ready for the postseason, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a good coach, and the players respond to him. And what he liked last night, as I said in my story, he said in my story, was the effort.
Right.
It was the way they played, and they played hard. And at one point, it was 25-6. Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch never gave up. They had a couple of Sarasota never gave up. They had a couple of 3-pointers. You know, it was never really that close a game. But even toward the end, you know, Sarasota was playing hard. When you have a young team that's down by that many points, still playing hard, I think it speaks volumes of the coach and of the program he has.
I was reading a story, 25 Sarasota turnovers. Can I infer from that Lakewood Ranch can really apply some defensive pressure?
Especially at the half court with Kaylin Scully and Sarah Fazio. They were knocking the ball loose and just scoring points in transition. Lakewood Ranch is a good team. They're not. They're second in 7A for a reason. You know, Winter Haven's a top team in 7A. I saw them at the Riverview tournament. They are really, really good. So it would be interesting to see those two teams match up. But yeah, Lakewood Ranch right now. I mean, they beat Southeast early in the year without LaDeja Williams. So, you know, right now, you know, it's Tina Hadley's built a nice program out there on Lakewood Ranch where basketball for a while wasn't really that big.
And now it is big, both 15-4 going forward.
Yeah,
so
Jeremy Schiller doing a good job, too, on the boys' side.
Exactly. I'm looking at the clock here. We only got a minute 50. John, let's just wrap up briefly what's going on the next couple of days, weekend over the area locally.
We got local wrestling, Palmetto and Manatee hosting tournaments. 2 days at Manatee, Friday, Saturday, 1 day at Palmetto on Saturday. And the cool thing is there aren't too many tournaments around here at the beginning of the season. Sarasota had one. We had the Captain Archer. But it's gotten to the point now where more and more programs, especially Manatee County, are hosting. I think Lakewood Ranch hosts one next week. And that's always fun. You know, it's a good chance to see these programs come together. Good prep for the postseason. Their postseason starts in a few weeks as well.
Right.
And we have some really good wrestlers in the area. And wrestling is always one of my favorite sports. I love it. I love the state tournament. That's my favorite event to cover by far. It's so much fun being there for 3 days, all the cool stories that happen. So, yeah, some good wrestling in the area on Friday and Saturday at Palmetto and Manatee.
And with a minute to go, let's tout a story that you'll be working on. You're going to go out and talk to a 30-goal
29
scorer, 29-goal scorer. Amazing.
Just talk a little bit about boys soccer. He had a 6th hat trick last night. So yeah, I'll be out there this afternoon talking to him, getting some video, getting some art as well, and that should be in the Tuesday's prep page.
Great.
It's Cardinal Mooney soccer program.
So next Tuesday, we'll be on next Wednesday. Maybe we can talk about that and maybe hit on a couple of other sports.
We'll be knee-deep in girls district soccer tournaments next week, so we'll have plenty to discuss.
Plenty to discuss.
On the pitch.
And we got 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds to go. Care to add anything else? How was your holiday, New Year's? You took it kind of easy, or what did you do?
Excellent.
I saw the pineapple come down. By 12:02, I was heading out of there.
I think I was sleeping at 12:02.
I think you were.
I've gotten old.
At my age, I should have been anyway. Got 14 seconds left. John, another great show of On the Grid. So next week, come back and join us. For John Lembo, I am Doug Fernandes. We'll see you next week on the Grid.